We are Geeks Not Nerds. I'm Captain Logan.
And I'm Vince!
Vince, today's question comes from Coolio Vince, who asks, can we answer every question with the phrase, it depends?
You know, since he uses the word every, and that's an absolute statement, I'm going to say
it kind of depends, right?
I'm going to say no. I don't think it depends on anything. Actually.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Yeah.
You can't answer everything with it depends. Do you have feet? Well, it depends.
Well, I think he's talking... Well, here's the thing. First of all, I don't think he asked this question for us to do a video on, but because he was so sarcastic, I felt the need to. And so it just sounded like fun. So anyway, I want to say he's talking about questions that we answer on our videos on Geeks Not Nerds, and he left that on a podcast we did about characters being killed off in comics and whether or not it cheapens their death if we bring them back. And we opened that podcast with, well, it depends. And he's got a point. We have opened many of our GNNs and podcasts with, well, that depends. And I think a lot of that, though, is because people will ask us these kind of blanket statement questions, and the point of opening it up to discussion is to explore it and to see in which cases it's true and in which cases it's not true.
See, when you have a question that says, here's a question, that question leads you to another question, and to another question. In my mind, if it depends, it means that you have this core question. What happens, or is it good if they die? Well, how is it done? Is it done this way, or is it done this way? So there's two more questions.
It's kind of like morality, right? It's like blanket morality questions, where most morality is not blanket. Most, in my opinion, is case by case basis. And it's just like, should superheroes kill? Well,
yeah, I mean, it depends.
It kind of maybe depends. Yeah, exactly. So anyway,
I think they should all kill. I think they should kill puppy dogs and rabbits to get them prepared to kill bigger things.
So what we're going to do is we're going to go down a list of Geeks Not Nerds we've done. I think this is at least most of them. And we'll skip the ones that aren't those kinds of questions, because some of them will just be a topic we talked about that's not really a question, that sort of thing. Yeah. We've got quite a few, of course, that we've done in the past. We're just going to go back and revisit some of our videos, and we're going to do this lickety split really quickly. And it never seems to work out when we say that, but we're really going to try this time. And these won't be podcast questions. These are all just this show, because it's this show. So I thought it'd be fun to just go down questions from this show, starting from the very beginning. And this is stuff on our playlist. And again, there might be a couple things missing from this playlist, but here are a lot of them. So the first Geeks Not Nerds we ever did, besides the one that's just called Geeks Not Nerds, which is us telling you what the show is, which is now an entirely different show, really. Well, not entirely, but kind of different. So the first topic we ever did was, does the Nintendo Wii hold up as a next-gen console?
No.
That's not a depends question at all, right?
It's a cool console.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, that's not really a depends question.
No, I don't think so.
Okay. Should we keep score? Keep score? That's one for... Are you going to write it down? No? You're just going to keep your fingers out? This will never work. You've only got 5 fingers in each hand.
I know, we'll try it anyway.
I mean, I don't have time to go get you more fingers, Vince.
Oh my god.
Who or what could really defeat Superman? That depends. Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Depending and not depending.
Without Wolverine, would the X-Men film survive? That's not a depends question.
That's a question that really can't be answered without actually trying it.
Yeah. Well, and then now that First Class has come out,
we
answered that question.
That's true.
And remember, this goes back 2 years, so there will be. Yeah, I mean, the next gen thing with the Wii. That's kind of an older type question. And then let's see. I'll skip that one because that's not really this kind of question.
Incidentally, yeah. X-Men First Class did have Wolverine in it anyway.
Yeah, but it wasn't sold on Wolverine.
That's true.
Is Captain Logan too obsessed with Star Trek? That's not a depends question.
Well, it depends on whether or not you want to ask the question, and it's true.
Yeah, okay, whatever.
That was mean.
If you had the chance to see one last movie, what would it be? That's not a depends question. What movie prop would you choose if you could pick one from any movie? That's not a depends question. Oh, wait, I skipped one earlier. I guess I'll just ask all these. What's the worst advertising you've seen in a commercial? That's not a depends question. Is Mario more recognizable now than Mickey Mouse? That's maybe a depends question.
I guess it depends on where you are in the world.
Yeah, and what age you are and stuff like that. How often should profanity be used in entertainment? Depends question.
Depends.
Is Keanu Reeves a good actor? Depends. We said that in the video, kind of, right? No, well, I'm just saying that we said there were certain performances. I said there were certain performances that were better than others.
I suppose we really talked about the idea of it depends on whether or not you're talking or how you define a good actor.
That's true. So it depends in that sense. All right. Which superheroes shouldn't or couldn't have their own feature film? That's not a depends question. Do you want to just write this down?
Well, we're at 7, and we're at 4.
Really? Are you going to manage that when we get into the double digits?
No. We got it.
All right.
How much time do we have left on this show?
I don't know. Well, we're going to roll through this. Video game concepts that will never get made. That's not a question, so don't count it at all. Is rebooting Spider-Man a good idea?
It depends, I think.
On what?
I think it depends on whether or not... I don't know. It's in a matter of opinion. It depends on whether or not you like the idea of reboots.
Okay, sure. I guess it could be answered in that sense, yeah. What superhero should get a movie but probably never will? That's not a depends question. Should comics be more kid-friendly?
I guess that depends.
Kind of depends, yeah. What superpower would you most like to have? That's not a depends question. Should Christopher Nolan reboot Superman? Depends on what kind of Superman you like.
Yeah, let's make that a depends.
Okay. 5 things to do before we die. That's not a question. What makes comic books like Amazing 623 newsworthy? That's kind of maybe a depends question.
I don't know.
Yeah?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't either.
Yeah, let's make it a depends.
Okay, cool. Which superheroes would you most like to talk to? That's not a depends question. This one's not a question. Then, would you live in the DC or Marvel universe? Well, that depends.
That depends.
Okay.
I would live in the Dark Horse universe.
You're gonna love this. Should we keep using the timer on Geeks Not Nerds?
That's a depends question.
Yeah, I think so too. What is Punisher's?
We're at 10 for 10 right now.
What is Punisher's place in the Marvel U?
That's not a depends question.
You don't think so?
I don't think so.
Okay, all right. Do bad sequels ruin the first movie?
That depends.
Okay. Should comics and TV shows have set endings? That totally depends. What is your favorite decade? That's not a depends question.
Man, we're neck and neck right now.
Would you want to live in your favorite decade? That's not a depends. Or is it? Oh yeah, yeah. No, it is because it depends on like who you are and how cynical you are and stuff like that.
But if they're referring specifically to us,
oh yeah, okay,
then it wouldn't be a depends question.
That's true.
So we're gonna make it 13 to 12.
Okay,
right
sounds good. What do you look for at comic book conventions?
It depends on what's on my list.
Yeah. Okay, all right. That's strangely a depends question. Maybe should there be Watchmen sequels?
No.
Should there be a Ghostbusters 3?
It depends
on a lot of stuff.
We are neck and neck.
Are there too many incarnations of Batman and Spider-Man?
I guess that depends.
That kind of depends. Yeah.
Depends.
Do DC animated movies always have to be PG-13?
No.
No.
They don't always have to be.
No, they don't. And that one, interestingly, is not one because it's kind of blankety. You know what I mean? Where it's like, do they always?
Yeah.
No. Yeah. So that's interesting. What's good about Punisher Max?
Lots of things.
Lots of things. That's not a depends question. It's just should major superhero costumes be changed?
That
depends. Or superheroes still super? Oh, that's that thing from that article that we didn't like. Let's get that. It wasn't really a question. It was us responding to an article. Is the Marvel movie continuity too gimmicky?
That kind of depends.
Yeah, I think so too. When are superhero origins outdated? That depends.
Yeah.
What makes a fan? Movies versus source material.
I think a fan is usually a contraption that blows air, and it depends on what direction.
Is that a depends question?
What is a fan? That depends.
Yeah?
Depends.
Okay, alright. Are Mario, Zelda, and Metroid past their prime?
That depends.
Do you think? On what? I mean, because you and I both were kind of like, no.
I don't think so, but I guess it depends on what your opinion, because we obviously had a guy on the show who thought they were.
Yeah, but the question is whether or not you can answer it with it depends, not can you answer it yes or no. Do you see what I'm saying? Just because somebody disagreed with us. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, we all had definitive answers for that. I don't think that's a depends question, really.
Yeah, sure, okay. We'll put it in not depends.
What comic book characters could Jim Carrey play now? It depends on his age at this moment that the question is being asked, right? But that's not really a depends question.
Okay. I thought that was funny.
It's just a list.
It depends.
Yeah, well, whatever. I don't care. Dude, you can do whatever you want to with your fingers. It's cool. Well, except for flicking off the camera, is Shadowland a good crossover event?
No!
Should
Neck and neck.
sequels be made of popular movies from years ago? That depends.
Yeah.
That depends. There are some that have been good.
Yeah.
Is Zack Snyder the right director for Superman? That's not a depends question, really, is it? Or is it kind of like the other one where it's like it depends on what kind of Superman you like?
I guess it depends on how he's going to treat it.
Yeah, that's true. That's all. You almost can't even answer it until it's out.
All right.
Okay.
21 and 19.
Which begs the question as to why we did it. No, I'm kidding. Wait, I did that. Oh, man. Some of these are on here twice, sorry. What comic characters are you and I similar to? That's not really a depends question. Do villains have to be... Han can't be Batman. Do villains have to be evil? That depends. That one's not a question. Nothing was not a question. How technology affects storytelling was not a question. Do superheroes need powers? That totally depends. That one was tough to answer. Usage of literary reference was not a question. Us giving each other gifts was not a question. Why do comic book movies avoid source material? Why questions? That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think you can answer why with it depends. Why does this happen? Well, it depends. So that's not a depends question.
You could say it depends on it. Like, you can say, well, it depends. You could say it depends on certain factors.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that it's grammatically incorrect to answer that question with it depends.
All right, let's take it over here.
Why? Because it depends. It doesn't really work.
We're at 21 not depending and 23 depending.
How superpowered is overpowered?
That depends.
That depends. Is the two-villain formula worthwhile? That depends on the movie. Should comic publishers let the characters age?
I think that depends.
Okay. When is a film overrated or underrated? That depends.
That definitely depends.
Is Tim Burton a good director? That depends on the movie. I would say.
Depends on the Burton.
No, what do you think, though?
Yeah. I mean, it depends on how you define good director.
Okay, cool. Yep. You're doing this better than me. How do you prefer to experience movies for the first time? That's not a depends question. How does geek stuff fit in with home decor?
That depends on the decor, I guess.
And the geek, really, or the lack of geeks in your house. What's your favorite game show? That's not really a depends question. Are Warner Brothers' plans for their superhero movies good news? Depends on how you define good news.
It depends on how you define Warner.
I don't know. I don't think that's a depends question. Do you?
No, I guess it depends on the news, but I think they were referring to a specific one.
We were, yeah. Is 3D worthwhile?
No.
I think most people have a specific answer to that, so I'd say that's not really a depends question. How do you like to consume literature?
That's not a depends question.
Nope. When are alternate realities effective in storytelling?
That depends.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Teen angst in movies, that wasn't a question, so don't put a finger on that. Do we take our entertainment too seriously? It's not a depends question. It's a yes or no question. Right?
Well, it's sort of a fluid question as to...
Oh, yeah, right.
You can't actually answer it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really depend on anything. It just depends on how you decide is... I'm not using English tonight, apparently.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
So we're just going to stick on not depends.
That's a review. Should Marvel make more animated films? That's not a depends question. Some of Cap and Vince's favorite movies? That's not a question. That's not a question.
Oh, right.
What movie elements are you a sucker for? That's not a depends question. That was us talking about Netflix. That was us talking about Captain America. Then we have all the multi-topic extravaganzas in a review. What collectibles would you save in a house fire? And is it worth seeing movies with bad reviews? Yeah, I think that's a non-depends question. Okay, so what won?
If I did this correctly.
Yeah.
If I did this correctly.
Dude, I gave you every opportunity to get out a pen.
I believe it was the not depends at one. By one.
Wow. Okay. So the answer to this question is we can't answer everything with it depends.
You see, the answer is it depends on whether or not Vince countered correctly with his hands.
No. But I mean, like even if it's not neck and neck, there were several where you couldn't.
I think I did this.
It depends.
The reason I said that I think I counted wrong is because at some point, see, for sign language, it is 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. And at one point, I saw myself doing this, and then I moved over here to this, and I went, wait. Was I doing this or was I doing this? So I was like, oh crap!
But I'm just saying.
What do I do now?
But to answer the question,
yeah.
no.
No, I mean, of course you can't answer every question with it depends. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't necessarily be doing it correctly.
Makes sense, yeah. And the thing is, we ask you a lot of questions that are like lists and what's your favorite of something and what's your least favorite of that kind of thing. So,
I mean, when you say it depends, what you're really asking is to whether or not you can go into hypotheticals.
That's right.
So, do you have 10 toes on your feet? Well,
yes.
Hypothetically, do I have 2 of them? See, that sounds weird.
Right. Yeah, and actually, that's a really good point. I mean, ultimately, what we're talking about is, can you speak in depth about everything, and maybe not necessarily, especially the list ones where it's just like I'm just answering your question. You know what I'm saying? So, well, thanks a lot for watching Geeks Not Nerds. Let us know what you think about this particular topic, and if there's something you'd like us to talk about in the future, leave that in the comments as well. And what?
Oh, I thought about saying, and I'm Vince, reminding you to support your local Depend store.
On that note, support your local comic book store, and thanks for watching. Bye. Really?
I'm gonna go to support my local Depend store.